How much does this sting for Bubba knowing his team owner cost him the win and a chance at the championship?
It's like if you get road burn and dump alcohol on it. I mean, that it stings a lot. And I mean, Bo Wallace has every right to give Denny Hamlin the middle finger and call him a quote dumbass because quote end quote it was a quote dumbass quote end quote move. It was, and it happens, and it was just racing though. Let's get that out of the way. It obviously wasn't intentional. It was just a racing deal where Denny Hamlin got tight, which he said in his interview, went up the track and got into Bubba, who Bubba then hit the wall. It happens, and the only reason why it stings more is because it happened being Denny Hamlin. It wasn't Chase Briscoe, it wasn't Christopher Bell, it wasn't Tyler Reddick, and it wasn't Chase Elliott. It was his co-owner, Denny Hamlin, who they, in the past, those two, anytime they're near each other, they race each other hard regardless of what the haters on social media say. And I feel like I want to ask the people in 2022 who said, oh, Denny Hamlin laid down and let Bubba win that race in Kansas. We would have seen the same exact thing happen in that 2022 race as we did in 2025 if Hamlin could get close to Bubba. That's just how they race. It is what it is for them. So absolutely, Bubba can be really mad, and it stings knowing that his team owner did eventually inevitably cost him a chance at moving into the next round. But then again, everyone was driving aggressive. Bubba ran Bell up too. It happens. It's just racing. I mean, if you're a Bubba fan, you have every right to be mad. If you're a Hamlin fan, you have every right to be mad. Toyota, same thing. You have every right to be mad. But at the same time, it is one of those things. It just happens. And if you're Chase Elliott, you have to be super excited. And pretty much everyone who doesn't like 2311 or Bubba Wallace or Toyota in general, Denny Hamlin, they're all happy. But of course, it stings more than anything that could have possibly happened to Bubba Wallace in this race is to have a crappy car, his words, not mine, but have a crappy car to start the race, go from 7th back to 16th, be the first car to start the pit road cycle in stage 1, and then for him to pretty much make up all that momentum, run up in the top 5, top 6 in stage 2, and then have a legitimate shot with a great pit stop to go win this race towards the end. He only led 13 laps, but I mean, he was a legitimate threat. He was one of the drivers to watch, and he showed why Kansas is still a strong suit for him. But then you look at it, it's one of those things. I truly doubt Bubba Wallace or Tyler Reddick will make it to the next round. I know they both, speaking of 2311, if Denny Hamlin didn't drive aggressively, he could have very well had Bubba into the next round and him into the next round with Tyler Reddick a chance to win at the Roval. However, why in the heck would Hamlin do that? He has no reason to lay down and not try to win a race to earn number 60, which is historic. He just passed Kevin Harvick in laps led. Could you imagine if he tied him in career wins in that same race? Would have been awesome, especially at Kansas. He would have had 5 Kansas wins. So Hamlin doesn't owe anyone anything about this either. I think, sure, it was a, quote, dumbass move, quote. But at the same time, it's racing, guys. You could be mad, you could be happy, sad, whatever conflicting feelings are going on in your mind, your heart, your whole entire body right now. It's just racing. It happens. Unfortunately, it's going to cost Bubba and it's going to cost 2311 a chance at a championship, but it happens. And there's nothing you can do unless Bubba really uses Shane Van Gisbergen. And they're close friends now. They ran the Legend cars, Joe Ryan race cars. Those two clearly have become close friends. And maybe he can take some pointers from him or Tyler Reddick and try to go win the Roval. Because other than that, there's not really a chance in heck that those two guys are going to advance unless they win. So that's just my thoughts on it. I encourage people in the chat room to comment how they feel about this whole Hamlin and Wallace situation. However, I do want to point out as I continue to yap before I send it to you, Joe, my apologies in advance. If this was Brad Keselowski and Chris Buescher getting to each other, or Brad getting into Priest, or literally you can go down the list. If this was Michael McDowell getting in the hosts of our Justin Haley and Nicole Custer, we wouldn't even be talking about it that much. But because it was these two specific drivers, who happens one co-owns the other one, they're both the same, obviously, manufacturer. They both race each other hard. And they're both clearly disliked by the population for whatever reasons they want to give. I don't care personally. That's why we're going to have a huge segment on this, because that it happens. If this was like I said, Buescher and Keselowski, co-owner and driver, battling for a win, I would have shut up probably 3 minutes ago. But it's just trying to just talk about the points, right? So now I will gladly be quiet. Joe give his answer with my high-pitched Central New York voice yapping over here, guys. I apologize, but it was an exciting race. That's why my voice is even higher than usual.
It was a thrilling race. I think for Bubba, what's going to make this thing more is this is the playoffs. If this was Kansas back in the regular season, yeah, it would sting if this happened. But you're also thinking the mindset of, well, we'll come back next race weekend, try to get a win, try to get those points for the playoffs. What stings is this is the playoffs, and the next race is the Roval. Life did not get easier with that last lap. I think the way he interviewed with Kim down in pit road, I think showed that, because he even said, if I'm more mature, I probably would say something dumb. Mm-hmm. I don't think he said anything dumb. I think what he said in calling Denny's move, still any driver would do that. Any driver would be upset from that. I mean, I think of what Tyler Reddick went through trying to make a move at Darlington on Chris Buescher, didn't work, ruined their days. And Chris Buescher's co-owner, gets around, gets the win. It's just hard racing. And in this format where the win you're in, yeah, I know Bubba probably would have loved to thought that, hey, Danny's going to race me clean. He's not going to try anything too aggressive. Denny Hamlin will race you aggressive. He's going to go out there and try to get that win. Unfortunately, didn't work out for either one. I think part of it has to be the issue with the power steering. I mean, 30-plus laps, he was worn out. And Bubba Wallace was just as aggressive. I mean, how he raced Christopher Bell. I think this is really going to sting for Toyota a lot more. Just the thought we had 5 cars in the top 5, and a Chevrolet got around all 5 of them. That cannot feel good. Like if you watch the onboard of Chase Elliott in that last run, how he gets around Reddick, he gets around Briscoe, Bell, and then the last 2 of Wallace and Hamlin. What an effort. He earned that win. But it's just going to sting, I think, for a while. And for Denny Hamlin, especially because when you look at it, 23-11, potentially, well, most likely a double elimination next race weekend at the Roval, unless they get a win, which if people are already looking at DraftKings, they're going to see Shane Van Gisbergen is the early favorites for next race weekend. Then the team has a very uncertain upcoming few months with the court case scheduled for December. What happens to their non-existent charters because they're running as open teams? Last weekend, Denny Hamlin, the co-owner, ruffled feathers at Joe Gibbs Racing with how he raced Ty Gibbs. There have been some talks like maybe he had let the emotions get to him. Hamlin post-race, he said he really wanted this win so badly, but it got away. Now, of course, a win is a win. I think if Brad Keselowski was in that same situation, he would try to race his own teammate hard, try to go for the win and say, hey, I wanted that win so bad, but I didn't want that to happen. We know if there was no overtime, he probably would have won this race because he had a pretty good lead. And despite not having power steering, he was still putting in fast laps. But of course, I think since this is Denny Hamlin, who you're either on the bandwagon or you're off the bandwagon, or as he says, you're going to get run over. People are saying he didn't see the bigger picture. Do you think that's fair criticism? Denny Hamlin didn't need to make that move?
I absolutely think, regardless of how you feel about this, I think it is completely fair to criticize Denny Hamlin, and I'd say it's completely fair to say that he had every right to do what he had to do. It's truly one of those definitions of it's a racing deal, and it really goes both ways. And for 23-11, just to talk, Reddick has the 6th best, and Bubba has the 9th best average finish at the Roval. So it's hope, I guess, but as the wide words of Ted Lasso, it's the hope that kills you. So I don't know if they're going to really get it done there. But it's truly fair criticism to say, Denny Hamlin, what the heck are you doing? Racing so overly aggressive, running your car into the wall pretty much, because none of those guys were going to lift. And why would you lift? And then when they inevitably had to lift, Chase Elliott did not lift and said, boom, and just won the race. That's how that went for Toyota. So, yeah, Denny Hamlin, like, it's, you can say he didn't see the bigger picture, and I think it's fair, but at the same time, it's also fair to criticize those people who say that, because why is Denny Hamlin going to roll over at a chance win number 60 and make history? Most laps he's ever led at a 1.5 intermediate track. I believe it was 159 laps, almost at 160. And it's interesting because he led so much, yet this race was not as boring as when Kyle Larson put belt to butt last time here at Kansas. It's just one of those things. There was so much action, and it goes to show Kansas needs a playoff race. Even if they even if they eventually only have one race, they better keep it in the playoffs. That's really that. But yeah, I think it's fair. You can say Denny Hamlin didn't need to do that, but you never know when your next win is going to be. And there were 36 other drivers in the field that probably wouldn't have lifted either to go try to win that race. So it's Denny Hamlin every right to do what he did, and for Bubba Wallace and that, he has every right to flip him off and call him a dummy. It's just, that's what happens. And I think if you have an opinion other than that, where you don't give one credit to both sides, I feel like you're just being biased about it. It's like you have personal emotions against those drivers. And I see even on Facebook, you see it in groups. A lot of groups are attacking Hamlin, or a lot of groups are attacking Bubba. And then Chase Elliott groups are thumbs up, heart emoji, all that stuff. So it's one of those things. Yeah, it could go either way. And I think for Hamlin, he's not even cooling off. Like, you could say, oh, he's slumping, he's getting aggressive and stuff. If Hamlin didn't have a crappy pit stop, I just wanted to touch on this. I'm so sorry for talking so much.
No worries.
If Denny Hamlin did not have that horrible pit stop where he lost 5 spots and went from first to sixth because the jack, obviously replacement Jackman, and it happens, again, racing deal. It's not just a driver sport, it's a team sport. And if that doesn't happen, I'm sure if Denny Hamlin gets the front row with Christopher Bell or with Bubba Wallace, I think Denny Hamlin smooth sails to victory. I don't think anyone could have got into him. I really don't. And that's how it went. And I want to touch 2311 and mention Tyler Reddick too. I know Bubba was mad at him on the radio, but Tyler Reddick, same thing. He did everything he could to help his teammate try to win. He apologized on the radio, did it, but then again, Tyler Reddick really doesn't owe anyone stuff. I know it's great to have one car, but Reddick's got a lot of stuff going on too. And he was going to try to win this race. He had the pace, setbacks, pit crew errors, just like per usual. He has the worst rated pit crew of the playoff drivers, and it killed him again. But I don't think all these guys really don't owe each other anything. It's just racing. It's just racing.
It's racing. And the way this format works, I think of one moment where it was Chase Briscoe asked, how are the points looking? And they told him, if Bubba Wallace wins this, you're going to be +1 entering the Roval. He tried to make the move for the win too around Christopher Bell, but couldn't make that work. And then Bubba Wallace on the inside. This format, you have to get that win, or else you're facing elimination. And Chase Briscoe has not had a bad race. The only driver to finish in the top 10 of every playoff race. And had Bubba Wallace gotten that win, he'd be single digits within that. That's too close for comfort when you're coming to the Roval. Denny Hamlin, could he receive criticism from some folks saying he didn't see the bigger picture, that maybe he should have just stuck more on the inside? Maybe, but that doesn't assure him a win. Points-wise, yeah, he's looking good. I just think this is one of those deals. He's a racing driver. You don't let up. I'm 100% convinced Brad Keselowski would have done the same thing. And if Keselowski did the same thing to Buescher, I'm pretty sure Buescher would also do the same thing Bubba Wallace did on the cooldown lap. The one thing I think people are really fired up to is the idea, well, what if Denny Hamlin was in Bubba Wallace's spot and it was Ty Gibbs on the inside making that move? Oh boy. There's a different dynamic in that sense where Ty Gibbs is not in the playoffs, looking for his first win. And we're coming off last race weekend, and this is where I think as much as Denny Hamlin is a great driver, I just sometimes feel like he sometimes puts himself in these bad spots because after New Hampshire, Kevin Harvick on the podcast said the move at New Hampshire was the moment he lost the championship. I know we talked a little bit about in the pre-race show that Hamlin's going to be motivated to go out there win stage one. He did that. He got stage two. But as you said, that late caution, that poor pit stop. Now it almost seems like he's in the worst controversy compared to last race weekend with Ty Gibbs. Because at least with Ty Gibbs, people are there. Well, Ty Gibbs shouldn't be racing his teammates that hard. And then they bring up about Ty Gibbs and how a lot of people don't seem to respect him that much. But now it's like, well, you just took away the win from a team you co-own, who we don't know if they'll be around or not, and facing double elimination. It sounded like a little bit in the post-race interview, the emotions got to Denny Hamlin. And I just can't help but think on Monday, when he records his podcast and when he talks to the media before the race weekend begins, sounds so much different compared to post-race at New Hampshire and today at Kansas, where it just seems like there's a lot more emotion, a lot more frustration. Granted, he just got out of a race car. Much different than talking to the podcast microphone or the media. But I have to ask, did Denny Hamlin choke away another championship and eliminate his team, essentially?
Absolutely not. I think that's truly a silly comment. I do. And I don't know why. It just seems like Harvick kind of – I didn't agree with his point about almost defending Ty Gibbs in that situation last week. It just seemed like he was talking down upon Hamlin. I don't know why. I mean, to each their own. Obviously, he knows a lot more than I would about anything with to do with racing. But it just seemed weird about a comment like that, especially two of the greatest drivers in the history of this sport. And one bashing the other, and then vice versa, because obviously Hamlin bashes Harvick here and there too. But yeah, it just seemed like to say that he lost the championship at that moment, that's silly. There's a lot. There's still 6, 7 more races. I didn't mean to say the meme, but there's still 6 or 7 more races left in the playoffs. So yeah, I don't get that. I think Hamlin is technically second in the standings if it wasn't for a win in advance. So Larson, surprisingly, actually would have the points lead right now because Blaney, obviously, his bad day today, his first bad day in months, that took him out of the points part, but he's still going to win. And then Chase Elliott was obviously farther down anyway. But, yeah, to say that he choked on the championship, I think that's silly. That just doesn't make sense to me. I think Denny Hamlin still is a favorite to, I would say, make the championship 4. I really do. Just Hamlin's luck, the way it's gone. He hasn't made the championship 4 in a couple of years. It obviously started when Ross Chastain did a video game move and took him out, and then he hasn't been back since before that, which is kind of crazy to think. But, yeah, it's just I don't think he choked it. I think Hamlin finishing second, again, still 1 win away from 60, has 4 or 5 wins already this season. I mean, to say that he's out of it right now because of one, quote, bad incident where he still finished pretty decent, 12th, I think it was, and then to come another thing and finish second here at this race. I don't think Hamlin's out, but I think the energy that you need to give Hamlin is to try to count him out because that's when he seems to come back and really give it his all. So that's how I feel. I think to any driver to say their championship hopes are gone, besides maybe Cindric, Reddick, and probably Bubba as well, the way the standings are, I think those other 9 drivers have just as much of a shot as each other to win the championship, especially since there are still 1 more race in this round, then another full round after this, and then a 1-race championship round after that. So still a long way to go. I will still be writing every Saturday or Sunday night until that November 2nd date. So we'll see what happens there. But yeah, that's just my thoughts on those comments.